It started subtly, as most terrors do, a whisper, faint and fleeting, slicing through the dead quiet of my hostel room. Kwame, just my name, nothing more. It was always at 3 a.m. Exactly. The first night, I dismissed it as a dream, the lingering echo of a lecture or conversation. My mind was probably just playing tricks on me, stressed from mid-semester exams. Brumetta rolled over, pulled the thin blanket over my head, and forced myself back to sleep. The second night, it happened again. 3 a.m. Kwame. This time, it felt closer, clearer. I sat up, my heart thumping against my ribs. The single, barred window of my room overlooked a deserted courtyard, bathed in the eerie, orange glow of a distant security light. Silence, just the hum of the old ceiling fan, struggling against the thick, humid Ghanaian air. I told myself it was nothing. Just the wind, or a neighbor talking in their sleep. But a seed of unease had been planted. On the third night, the whisper was no longer a question. It was a statement. Kwame. It was inside the room with me. My breath hitched in my throat. Every hair on my body stood on end. I wasn't dreaming. This was real. My eyes darted around the small, cramped space. The familiar shadows of my cluttered desk, my stack of textbooks, and my overflowing laundry basket now seemed menacing, hiding something sinister. Slowly, carefully, I slipped out of bed. My bare feet met the cold concrete floor. I held my breath, listening. Silence. The digital clock on my bedside table glowed a mocking 3:01 a.m. I had to be sure. I crouched down, heart hammering, and peered under my bed. Nothing but dust bunnies and a forgotten pair of slippers. I crept over to the old wooden wardrobe, its door slightly ajar. With a trembling hand, I pulled it open. Just my clothes, hanging limp and lifeless. My last hope was the door. Maybe someone was playing a prank. I unlocked the bolts, my hands slick with sweat, and pulled the heavy door open. The corridor was empty. A single fluorescent bulb flickered erratically, casting long, dancing shadows. There was no one there. I quickly locked the door again, securing all 3 bolts. My sense of security completely shattered. I leaned against the door, trying to calm my racing heart. It had to be my imagination. It had to be. I stumbled back to my bed and slumped down, my gaze fixed on the digital clock. The numbers shifted. 3:02 a.m. The silence in the room was deafening now, heavier than any sound. I felt a presence, an invisible weight pressing down on the atmosphere. My eyes scanned every corner, every shadow. The thin curtain over the window swayed, though there was no breeze. Was that a shadow moving behind it? Or just a trick of the flickering light? Then, the clock turned. 3:03 a.m. A new whisper, right beside my ear. So close, I could feel the cold breath of it on my skin. I can see you. I froze, every muscle in my body locking up in pure, undiluted terror. I squeezed my eyes shut, not wanting to see what was there, what was watching me. My phone, lying face down on the bed beside me, suddenly lit up. I hadn't touched it. I hadn't received a notification. On the dark screen, the audio recording app was active. A red bar pulsed, indicating it was recording. But I never opened it. I never pressed record. My hands shook so violently I could barely pick up the phone. For a long time, I just stared at the screen, at the silent undulating waveform of the recording. Was this a prank? A hack? Or something else? My logical mind screamed at me to delete it, to throw the phone against the wall and pretend none of this happened. But a morbid curiosity, a terrifying need to know, won out. With a deep, shuddering breath, I pressed play. The recording started with a few seconds of static, the low hum of the fan. Then, a sound emerged from the speakers, a whisper. My blood ran cold. It was my own voice. It was me, whispering my own name. Kwame. Chills erupted all over my body. How was this possible? I was asleep. Or at least I thought I was. The recording continued. The whisper grew more urgent, more insistent. Open the door. My eyes shot to the door. The 3 bolts were still firmly in place. I had locked it myself. I hadn't moved. The recording was from moments ago. The disembodied whisper, my own voice, repeated the command. Opened the door. A wave of nausea washed over me. What was happening? Was I losing my mind? Was I sleepwalking? Talking in my sleep? But how could I command myself to open a door that was already locked from the inside? Suddenly, a loud, sharp knock echoed from the door. 3 heavy thuds that vibrated through the floor. My heart leaped into my throat. The clock on my nightstand read 3 a.m. It was happening again. But this was different. This wasn't a whisper. This was physical. Real. I scrambled back against the headboard, pulling my knees to my chest, my eyes glued to the door. Silence. Then, a new sound. A soft, wet breathing, just on the other side of the door. A slow, deliberate inhale and exhale. It was close. Too close. I wanted to scream, but the sound was trapped in my throat, choked, befuried. My terrified gaze remained fixed on the door, on the old brass doorknob. And then I saw it. Slowly, impossibly, the doorknob began to turn.